Hi, this is David Kirk, and this is an introduction to using Access to do homework 4. This homework is to create a database for NBA. An Access database is composed of different components. You've got tables, which store your data. You've got queries, which allow you to search the tables. And reports allows you to format either tables or queries for printing. First thing, let's look at the tables. The NBA players table, if you double click it here, it comes up. This table shows every player. There's 400 or 401 now because I added myself. And this shows all the statistics for every player. The teams table, this shows all the teams in the NBA. Now, just a little bit on what a relational database is. Notice that there's a common field between these two tables. In the NBA players table, you've got a field named team, and in the NBA teams table, you've got a field named team. And what a relational database is when you open one, for example, you pull up a player. With that relationship set, then you also not only can see all the information from the players table and all the statistics, but you can also see the information from the teams table for the corresponding team. So therefore, if you pulled up a player, you would also be able to see what division that player is in and who his head coach is. Okay, now in each of these tables, you've got two views. You've got the Datasheet view, and this view is where you enter the data. To enter new records, you go down to the bottom, and then you can start entering new records down here. But you've also got the design view. And in the design view, this is where you actually design the table. You specify what fields go in there and their data type. Are they going to use are they going to store text, or are they going to store numbers? So one thing I see a lot is students will try to enter data in the design view. Don't do that. This is where you enter the fields for the table. Then you go back to the Datasheet view, and this is where you can enter the data. The data, don't really worry about what order it's in because you can sort it at any point. You can right-click on one of these columns and sort it by that column. Now, to close these tables, what you do is just right-click here and go Close on the tabs. Okay, now for the queries. Oh yeah, also if you want to rename a table, you can right-click over here and rename, but it needs to be closed before you can rename it. Queries allow you to search for one or more search for data within one or more tables. For example, this query is players over 35 years old. So this query, it's for players over 35 years old, and we're pulling out the team and we're pulling out the division. Now the division comes from the other table. That comes from the teams table, where all this other information comes from the players table. Now if I go to the view and go to design view, here you can see how we designed this query. Here I'm actually using both tables, and notice that if you have that common field between both these two tables, that it draws this relationship automatically. And also the teams field, that needs to be the key field. It means it's the unique identifier. You can do that when you're designing the table in the design view. And down here you specify each field that's going to come up on the query. You can just select it from the list, and then you can also, if you want to sort on one of these fields, you can sort it in that order. And also the criteria down here. For example, I only wanted to show players over 35 years old, so I'd put a greater than 35 under the age, and I'm sorting that in descending order. So now I go back to the Datasheet view, and notice it's all the players over 35 years old sorted in descending order. Now, the reports allow you, oh yeah, back to the queries. To create a query, you go to Create, and then I'm doing Query Design. And then when I do that, for that query, I needed both tables, so I selected both tables, the players table and the teams table. And again, it created that relationship automatically because my team was the key field and the names of those two fields are identical. Team, team. Now, the reports, what I'm doing on reports is going to create, and I'm doing the report wizard. I need to save this query one now. Okay, I'll save it. This query one. Okay, the report, back to the report wizard. Now, when you do a report, you select an existing data set. And that can be either one of your two tables or one of the queries that you already have. For example, if I want to do a report for players over 35 years old, now here's the available fields from that query. I can select them all to go on the report and go to Next. Now if I want to group it, for example, it will, if I go group by teams, it will group all the players from that team, you know, in one area. In this case, I didn't really have that many players for over 35, so I don't. Normally, I would just, you could just double click on one of these, and then that will give you your grouping. Now, if I go to the, let's go to the next. Here I can sort it by one of the fields, and also I can do summary options. For example, I can summarize, I can give the sum, the average, the min and max values within any of those fields, any of the numeric fields. And also, like on my homework, you're supposed to do this summary data only. And that's about it. Here, the last step of the report is where you name it. I'm going to cancel out of that. Anyway, this is just a real quick look at the homework for how to set it up.